What's going on, guys? Welcome to another video, and in today's video I'm going to talk about if you should choose Android or iOS for mobile app development. Alright guys, before we started with this, make sure to check out my website telmosampaio.com, where I'm dropping all my latest courses in there. I just put one recently there, React for Beginners, a project for people who are completely new to React and they are just starting out. And I put the membership so cheap, like $12.99, and you get access to all my courses in there. You cannot find a better deal than this. So make sure to check the link in the description, telmosampaio.com. Let's get started with the topic of this video. So should you really develop apps for Android or for iOS? So let's say from all the people in the world who own phones and tablets, if you search on the internet, you're gonna come to a number around, depending on the websites, let's say that around 70% of the people in the whole world, 70% of the people, they use Android. So it leaves 30% for iOS. There are quite a different numbers all around, but it should be somewhere around these. 70% of all people in the world using Android, 30% iOS. So, as you can see, first of all, there are a huge number of people using Android, first of all. So if you want to start building apps for Android, there is a huge market out there, a huge, really huge. So there is a point in favor of Android. But now, let's see, for example, when you are building apps for iOS. Let's talk about iOS now. When you are building apps for iOS, most of the iPhones out there, they are all using the same system. It's much easier for you to build an app. Let's say you are building an app with some kind of API or something. This app will be much more compatible, will work almost exactly the same on all iPhones, because it's just like one company in there, rather than if you are going to be building apps for Androids. You got Samsung, you got LG, you got HTC, you got all these different phone makers out there, that when you are going to be building Android apps, maybe this app is going to work great on Samsung's, but it is not going to work great on Nokia's. Who knows? That's because there are so many different Androids out there. So this might be one of the problems for you, okay? The compatibility of your app with all the different phones out there. But in iOS, it's going to be much easier. So it's going to be easy for your app to look the same in all the iPhones. So this point in here goes to for the iPhones, for the iOS. But now let's talk about money. If you want to make some money building apps because you want to sell some apps, you want to make some money, there is still a lot of people making a lot of money into this mobile app development. And let me tell you, there is a huge demand right now in this day for mobile app development. I can tell you myself, as a web developer, I have lost a lot of money because I don't know how to build mobile apps. I'm learning it now, but nowadays there is a lot of people that you can easily build a website. WordPress, you got Wix, and of course there is always going to be a demand for web developers, for good ones, so we can have personalized websites. But there's still a lot of people that they don't know how to build mobile apps. I'm one of them. So that's why there's people coming to me and they are telling me, "Hey Telmo, can you build me this mobile app? Because I already have a website, but I would like to have as well on the App Store for people to come, or on the Google Play Store or something." And that's it. So let's talk about money. This is what I wanted to tell you. When someone is building some apps for Androids, you are going to think first of all oh my god, 70% of the world they use Android, so I have a lot more chances of selling these apps. But here is the thing, Most of these people who have like Android phones, these people, they are used to buy cheap things. Not everyone, of course, but there is a lot of people that they buy an Android phone because it's much cheaper. So they will not be so likely, maybe if you try to sell an app that costs like $10 or $20, just an example. People who have Android, maybe they will not be so keen to buy your app. On the other hand, people who buy iPhones, people who buy MacBooks or whatever, they are used to this kind of loyalty to Apple. They are used to pay premium prices. This is like almost like a luxury item, like an iPhone, because it's so expensive. So people will much more be like to invest some money or to buy this app without thinking too much, that they are used to spend money. So this can be a point in your favor if you want to build apps for iOS. But there is also some kind of limitations. Let me tell you, for example, if you want to build apps for Android, you can build apps for Android on Windows, on Linux, and I think even on Mac OS, you can build apps for Android. On the other hand, if you try to build apps for iOS, you can only build it using the Mac OS, using a Mac, a MacBook Pro, something like this. So there's some kind of limitations in here. If you want to become an iOS developer, you need to have a Mac or a Mac OS. That's for sure. So it can be a limitation for you. So basically, that's it for this video, guys. I just wanted to show you like the difference between these kind of two things and which one should you choose. I don't have a personal opinion in these because I would like to build them for them both, but probably if I would choose just one, I would go for the iOS, the App Store, because I would much likely make more money. If I'm trying to make some money, I would go definitely for that one. As well, something that I didn't mention is that when you are building an app and you want to publish it on, for example, for Android, on the Google Play Store, there are not as many requirements as there are in the App Store. When you are building an app for iOS to put on the App Store for other people to buy it, the restrictions are so much more. It means that they have a lot of these kind of requirements for you to meet in order to publish your app in there. And on Google Play, there are not so many requirements. Of course, there are still some requirements, but not as many as in the iOS. So all of these, it gives a little bit more of peace of mind for the people who are going there and buy these apps. So they know that they will be much more robust and work well, and they're not gonna get scammed or anything. And by the way, talking about all of these, how can you build like apps nowadays? Before was like, if you want to build an app for Android, you could, develop in Java with Android Studio. Nowadays you got Kotlin as well. And if you go into iOS development, before was like Objective-C, and nowadays you have to learn Swift, okay? So basically it's like you have to dedicate to one or to the other because the languages are completely different. But this is what I wanted to mention. Nowadays, there are a lot of solutions that they will allow you to build some code, okay? With just one code that you're going to write, you can export it to Android and you can export it to iOS. I'm just going to give you some examples. You got for C#, you got a library called Xamarin. So if you are building in C# and you know the language C#, you can build on Xamarin like an app, and then when you are going to export your code, you can export it for Android, and then you can export it for iOS as well. The same now is happening nowadays with React Native, probably you have heard. So React Native, if you already know JavaScript and you know React Native is going to be like very, very easy for you. So you're going to write down all this code in JavaScript and React, and then you can export it to Android and to iOS. And there is now something else coming up called Flutter, is getting very popular as well. So now you're going to tell me, hey Telmo, but is this going to be the same like building something completely from scratch for for Android or building something completely from scratch to iOS with Swift, for example, is not going to be exactly the same. But if you're going to be building an app that is something like quite easy, nothing too complex, you know, you're not going to feel too much optimizing issues. It's going to be almost the same. Obviously, the more complex the app is, probably you want to just build it like natively. If you're going for iOS, build it with Swift. If you're going to Android, you can use Kotlin or Java. If the application is too complex, of course. But if it's something simple that it doesn't require a lot of lines of code or anything, you will be like really well set with React Native or with Xamarin or with Flutter or something like this. Alright guys, that's it for this video. I hope you could understand a little bit about what I wanted to transmit in here. I didn't give you like a clear decision. Like, my opinion would be, probably if I wanted to make some money, I would invest in iOS development, like I said. Maybe if you want to get a job as a mobile app developer, maybe like it's gonna be about like both. They are like requirement. Maybe you will get more jobs with Androids because there are more companies doing for Androids, I guess. But yeah, that's it for this video, guys. I hope you like it. Make sure to give me a thumbs up, okay? Because this is what helps me like promote my videos. The more you guys put a thumbs up on my videos, the more you comment it out, the more it helps the channel to grow and for me to make more videos like this and more free tutorials for the channel as well. And don't forget, of course, to check my website, telmosambayo.com, like I mentioned in the beginning of this video, to check all my courses. So that's it, guys, for this video. I hope you like it, and I'll see you in the next one.